Hello children, now we are going to see further what constitution is and what it should be done, what was done actually in the constitution. So in the previous video we had learned about constitution. Constitution is a set of basic rules, and it is considered a supreme law which is accepted by all the people of a country. Till here we had studied in the previous video. Now let us see further. So every country, regardless of democracy or non-public democracy, has a constitution. So whether the country is democratic or whether the country is non-democratic, it has a constitution. Constitution is common to all. Constitution is there in a democratic country. Constitution is there in a non-democratic country. So this applies not just to government but also to political parties, organizations, cooperative societies and associations. So constitution, what is constitution? A set of basic rules. So wherever you go, you will find a set of rules of that particular institution or anything. So see, family is also an institution. Okay, in your family you have certain set rules, what you should do, what you should not do, you should follow this, you have to behave like this. You have certain rights in your family which are there in the constitution of your family. So this is the very small example of constitution. So constitution and its set rules are applied, not only applied to the government, but those rules are applied to the political parties, organizations, cooperative societies and associations also. So each of these terms, they have their own set rules which the people who are involved in these organizations, they have to follow. How we, the citizens of India or citizens of South Africa, we all follow our own country's constitution set rules. So on these small basis also, people who are involved in these organizations, they have to follow those set rules. Okay, our school is also an institution. It has its own set rules, and what we people do, we are the teachers, you are the students, principal, management, even the ground staff, everyone, they follow the set rules of our institution. So we have our constitutional institutional rules, right? So this is what the constitution is. So all these bodies need a set of rules which should be followed by everyone involved. So political parties, organizations, cooperative societies and associations. Now let us move ahead. Further, besides being a supreme law, a constitution also determines the relationship between people and the government. So if in this image you can see, people are standing on one side, government is there on the other side, but what is the bridging part between people and the government? Bridging means the part which joins people and the government. Okay, so that bridging part is filled by the constitution. So constitution is a link, connection between people and government. It determines the relationship between the people and the government. So a constitution has 4 primary functions. So if you look into the image, you will see those 4 primary functions. Trust between people and government. Functions of what is the function of constitution? The first function is, it is the trust between people and government, distribution of powers, rights of citizens, building a good society. So these are the 4 basic functions of the government. So first one is trust between people and government. It generates the trust that is necessary for different kinds of people to live together. So people should have trust in their government, and that trust is maintained or assured by the constitution. Constitution gives the rights to the citizen, which assures them, yes, your government is proper and you should have belief in it. Further, distribution of powers. So it also specifies how the government would be constituted, or who will have the power and what decisions they would be responsible. So this distribution of power in the government is done through elections. So what we do, we people vote to our candidate, and what all powers that candidate after election would enjoy. That candidate is none other than, or he or she is nothing but the part of the government. So government has certain powers, and but under the constitution government has limited powers. Okay, and what decision government is supposed to take, everything is designed in the constitution. So this comes under the function of constitution, which lays certain things, which tells the government what kind of powers it has in under it. Also further, the constitution lays down what it says, rights of citizens. What are there, what kind of rights are there for the citizens? The constitution lays down limitations on the powers of the government. Earlier I explained you there are limitations for the powers of government, but it makes sure that the citizens are aware of their rights as well. So we citizens, we enjoy all kinds of rights. We have right to speak, we have right to decide, we have right to religion, we have right to education. So many rights are there that our constitution tells us that we can enjoy these rights, and there are limitations to the government. So it expresses further, and last function is building a good society. So constitution is responsible for building a good society. It expresses the aspirations of the people for building a good society. What is a society? Society is made up of people, human beings. So what these people aspire, okay, that is expressed very well in our constitution. And our aspiration, a common person's aspiration is our society should be based on goodness, equality, justice. That these points are seen or observed in the constitution, and that becomes its function. So trust between people and government, distribution of power, rights of citizens, building a good society, and these many things are elaborated over here in the notes. So these four things are the four primary functions of the constitution. So throughout the history, people of all free countries have given their subsequent generations a constitution to abide by. If we peep in the history, we'll see that any country, say for America, say for France, or we Indians also, or India also. So if we see, peep in our history, we come to know that our historians, or the people who are responsible for building up the constitution for us, they have given us the constitution which we currently are following, we are abide by. So throughout the history, people of all free countries, okay, have given their subsequent generation, the future generation, a constitution to abide by. Be it the Americans, as in the first image, okay, after winning the war against the Great Britain, be it the Americans, okay, or the French in the second image, the French at the end of their revolution. We had studied French Revolution, okay, the famous tennis court oath, making of the French constitution. If you remember, we had seen and we learned about it. So French government, or the France people, they have also formed their constitution for their future generation. The story of our constitution is similar to that of South Africa. So our story, our India's story, history also resembles to certain amount to South Africans. In what ways we are similar to South Africa? Both these countries, means India and South Africa, both of them were ruled by the white peoples, or we can call them British peoples, Europeans. They ruled over us. Okay, this is the certain thing, and they tortured what they did, everything in common. So India was split into two countries at the time of independence. That we are very aware of our own history. When India became independent in 1947, it was split into two countries, namely India and Pakistan. Observe both the images, okay. So this was a difficult time for the people of both India and Pakistan. It was not very easy. Yeah, India got split into two countries, we will enjoy in India as Indians. No, it was not at all easy for the people of India to get split into two parts. Okay, so during partition means dividing one country into two parts. So during partition, over millions of people died on both sides. So from Pakistan, from India, both the people they died during the partition. So this was not at all an easy thing for us to digest. So that was the horrible thing. We achieved independence, good, but what happened immediately after independence was the partition, and that thing we Indians would never forget in our side or in our part, even not even Pakistanis also. So in India, people had just come from subjects to being citizens of sovereign nation. So immediately after independence and partition, India now has transformed, or Indians, they have now transformed from subjects to citizens. Subjects means we Indians were the subjects of the princely states. Okay, princely states means we were also ruled by the Britishers, but before the Britishers came to India, India was divided into several princely states. Those princely states were ruled by the kings. So who were we? We were the subjects of those kings. So from subjects, after independence, we have transformed to citizens. So transformed to citizens of a sovereign nation. Sovereign means independent nation. Not everything about governing the country was clear at this point. We were not at all clear about the point what independence is, how we should govern ourselves. There should be something to look after us. Okay, governing body should be there, but we were not at all aware of that. Why we were not aware about that? Because the reason for this was long years colonial rule. First reason, for nearly 150 years we were ruled by Britishers. Second, inexperience in self-governance. The second important reason is inexperience in self-governance. We never ruled ourselves, right? We were constantly, before Britishers they came to India, we were under the rule of kings, and after Britishers they came to India, we were under their rule. So we never experienced what self-governance is. So how we would come to know at that time we should do this, we should do that. So at that time everything was unclear. It was not clear at all. So this is also evidence by respected Jawaharlal Nehru's speech. What he said in his speech, this was also evident when Nehru said in his speech, we have realized our dreams. Yes, we have realized our dreams, not totally but substantially. What he's trying to say over here, he said that this to indicate that the independence was one part of their dream. A lot more was needed to be done. So we have achieved our dream, but not substantially, partially. To become independent was one of the part of our dreams. Okay, but a lot more had to be achieved at that time. Okay, so we had become independent at that time. But what to do after independence? Okay, how we were supposed to lead our life after becoming independent? That has to be decided. So lot more things had to be worked on. So another issue was the merging of princely states with India. So even though Britishers they were ruling us, during that period when we were ruled by Britishers, during that period kings were also there who were ruling us. So after independence, Britishers they had gone from our country. Okay, but what about these princely states who were ruled by kings? Okay, so that was also the issue where princely states have to be merged in India. Princely states, or princely states of Rajasthan, princely states of Kerala, and so on, they have to be merged in India. That was also the issue, but that was not the greater issue to deal with. Okay, however, unlike South Africa, the making of Indian constitution was much smoother, as much of the agreement about what kind of democratic country India should be had developed during the freedom struggle itself. So our post-independence period about the constitution, how it should be, was not much difficult as the South African. South African people, they spent their 2 years in designing the constitution and all. But we had much smoother period because during the time of our freedom struggle, during our freedom struggle, when Britishers were there in India and we Indians were struggling, we were putting our hard efforts to be free. At that time only we had started thinking that how our constitution would be when India would get its freedom. Okay, so half of the parts was already done, but its implementation and little bit polishing and finishing was needed to be done after independence. So it was a much not a difficult task, it was an easy task for us to deal with. So till here we are going to study. Okay, so what is constitution according to India, who are the people who designed the constitution, when it was adopted, all these things we are going to study in our next video. Till that time, please watch this third video also and its previous two videos also of this chapter, and please leave your comment in the comment box. Please go through the chapter in the textbook as well as the points, these notes in the refresher. Please be in touch with both these things also along with the videos, so that you can understand the chapter in a better way. Okay, for now, thank you.